Rules are fun, aren't they? But you know what's even more fun? Clearly defined social guidelines voted on by hundreds of wise leaders from around the world. And that's what the social principles of the United Methodist Church really are. They aren't really church law like other sections of the Book of Discipline, but they are official public statements agreed upon by a consensus of lay and clergy delegates from around the worldwide denomination today. And these statements are meant to represent where we, as United Methodists, stand collectively on topics like climate change, racism, and even marriage equality. Evocative of words by very important guy John Wesley, the UMC social principles are meant to guide us into ethical action and social holiness. But what does that mean? And why is 2025 such an important year for this tradition? Well, if you haven't already, I invite you now to ask yourself, what's up with the social principles? Why, I'm glad you asked! The very first copy of the UMC Social Principles was created at the 1972 General Conference, aka the big denominational meeting every 4 years. This was exactly 4 years after the union between the United Brethren and the Methodist churches to form the United Methodist Church. Because of this blending, the very first social principles was heavily influenced by two existing documents: the Evangelical United Brethren's Moral Standards and the Methodist Episcopal Church's Social Creed. Both functioned similarly to our modern social principles, meaning that they were a list of public stances on various issues meant to represent their church's collective opinion and guide their members through social conundrums. The very first Methodist Social Creed was drafted in 1908. It was rooted in the teachings of John Wesley and sought to encourage social holiness, forthright moral witness, and ethical action. In addition to those ideals, both the Social Creed and the Social Principles are also based in the Wesleyan Quadrilateral, which consists of 4 ways of knowing. We come to know the truth and discern what is good and right through scripture, tradition, reason, and experience. Guided by these sources of wisdom and with the goal of making the world a better place, our social principles continue to be written and rewritten to respond to the ever-changing world around us. A new draft is created every 4 years to be voted on at the next General Conference meeting. And until the new document has been ratified, they're referred to as the new revised social principles. There have actually been 12 different revisions and publications of the social principles since 1972, the latest being last year in 2024. 2024 was a significant year for this document for 2 reasons. Because of the COVID-19 pandemic, the 2020 General Conference was delayed, meaning that the new revised social principles were in a draft phase for 8 years instead of 4. And secondly, one of the headlining revisions was the removal of incompatible language that claimed that LGBTQ+ individuals did not belong in church leadership. In addition, the section on marriage was changed to read, "Marriage as a sacred lifelong covenant that brings 2 people of faith, adult man and adult woman of consenting age, or 2 adult persons of consenting age, into a union of one another and deeper into relationship with God and the religious community." As you can imagine, the "or" part of that statement was a tad contentious. Along with many more changes, including a statement on Indigenous peoples and environmental racism, the 2024 General Conference ratified the new social principles, which officially took effect on January 1st, 2025. New hard copies of the social principles are being printed as we speak and published by Cokesbury, the United Methodist Publishing House. So before you get your own copy, here is a brief overview. There are 6 main sections of our social principles. The preface, which gives a brief history of Methodism, and the preamble, which goes over some of the theological convictions of the church, and then 4 categories of community. The community of creation, formerly the natural world, the social community, the economic community, and the political community. Every statement in the social principles is found underneath one of these topics. So make your best guess at which heading applies and then skim until you find the topic you were looking for. Whether or not you've ever owned a copy before, I do hope you pick one up this year. Even more than usual, it is a historic look into an ever-evolving religion. And maybe now you have a few tools to read it yourself and understand a little bit more about United Methodism as a whole.